Hey, this is Jamie from CapsuleComputers.com, and today we have another episode of Capsule Computers Indie Spotlight. Today we have Knights of Pen and Paper +1 edition. Now originally Knights of Pen and Paper was released on iTunes for iOS. This game was such a huge hit that it eventually got onto Android, and Paradox Interactive signed them and helped them publish the game for PC. Now, this game is available for Windows and Mac for $9.99 on Steam, and is still available for $2.99 on iTunes and Google Play. Now, the +1 edition, some of the features has been added to the Android and the iOS version. However, the PC version and the Mac version does have brand new dungeons, character options, and the Tavern, which you'll see. Now, the game has a unified gold pocket. So the gold that I go to this new game is going to be the exact same as the gold from my old game here. Now, this is my older game. I've finished the main portion of the campaign. I'm actually into the new content that was added with the +1 edition. As you can see, the graphics are very SNES-like. There is some inspiration from Final Fantasy VI and Super Mario from the SNES. You can probably hear that the audio is chiptune and very much taking some inspiration from Zelda, Final Fantasy, and so forth. Now, the one thing I really had a problem with the audio is there's only about 4 or 5 different tracks. I think 3, 4, 5 is probably actually kind of generous, to be honest. There's this spooky track, and then there's a town track, and there's a battle track. And the sound effects are really good, but the music just got really repetitive after you put in a lot of hours, so I just turned the sound on just for this video. Now, Knights of the Pen and Paper is inspired by pen and paper RPGs. For those of us who are too young to remember pen and paper RPGs, Dungeons & Dragons wasn't always a video game. In fact, it spent many years as a pen and paper RPG that required a Dungeon Master, which is this guy over here, to create a story and tell the story to a party, our players over here, which I will just resurrect this guy so he's not as dead. Now, the Dungeon Master would create a story from his own mind, and sometimes helped by some campaign stuff, like some stories and whatnot, provided by the makers of the book. Now, in Pen and Paper, we got a very similar sort of story where a group of heroes go and fight off some unmistakable evil, and it hits all the right notes. There's some really corny moments, and there's not so corny moments, and there's arguing between the party and the Dungeon Master, and there's random things the party will say, like, I need to go make a phone call and whatnot. Very much will find itself at home to anyone who's actually played a pen and paper campaign RPG, which I suggest everyone should at least try to do once if they call themselves an RPG fan. Now, this campaign provides a lot of quests. However, if you're not really ready to take on the quest, you can actually create your own quest, which really does help, I guess, expand the game a little bit. Fights, you'll see, I'll show you right here. Fights, you can add the amount of characters you want, or you can remove as many of the characters you want to make fights as easy and as hard as possible. As you can see right now, I've just encountered one of the more frustrating things of near the end of the game, where the hitboxes are not the most accurate things. It just seems like they're too big or they're too small at all the wrong times in the end campaign. However, the base campaign, everything worked perfectly fine. I really don't know what's the problem. I suspect it's mainly involving the size of the mobs from the second half, from the new content, but it's neither here nor there. After a while, you do kind of figure out where's the right spots to hit. Anyways, so the characters, the game itself, mechanics-wise, is pretty easy. It's not so easy that hardcore gamers are just going to turn off and just not enjoy the game, but it is easy enough that people new to the genre, or maybe even new to video gaming, will be able to pick up this game and get into it. Now, here is the character sheet. It's a lot simpler than the character sheets you may have seen in Dungeons & Dragons and whatnot. It's actually pretty basic. However, you don't actually really tweak the character sheet yourself. You can adjust the 4 skills as you level up. You can assign skill points. You can choose the character, which comes with its own special passive ability, and you can change the equipment. These 4 equipment can actually be switched in and out, like so, while these 2 you have to visit the blacksmith to get them adjusted. So we'll get along with the quest here as I talk. So you can hear the very classic battle music in the background here. Now, the game is as simple and as hard as you can make it. You want to make it. However, the campaign missions, you're either going to if you're going to want an a challenge, don't grind too much, just fight things under level. If not, I found that what I'm trying to say is the level suggestions that the game actually gives you is not really accurate, in the sense that if you're a hardcore gamer, you're going to find it if you hit things at the level requirement as they ask, you're going to find the game really easy. However, if you decide to go at the game several levels lower than what they suggest, you're going to actually find a bit of more of a challenge, and I think that's one of the nice things about this game. It's as difficult as you're willing to make it yourself. Combat here, as you can see, is pretty simple. It's just, you have your abilities, you can run, you can defend, you can pop an item, or you can just do a regular attack. Now, this game does work on a threat system similar to MMOs that you may have played, like World of Warcraft. So it will mean that you'll have your tank, you'll have your healers, you'll have your damage dealers, and you'll have your support classes. And you'll want to put everything on the tank while you go to town with your damage dealers. Now, if you want a little hint on how to really do some massive damage in this game, do try to avoid multiple hit attacks, in the sense that that would hit multiple enemies at once. You actually want to focus on the dots, because the dots in this game are incredibly powerful, especially if you level them up. Oftentimes, I found myself actually seeing a lot of the enemies die on their own turns. Now, one thing about this game that I did actually have a bit of a problem is there is going to be a lot of grinding. As you can see, you don't actually get much gold, but items are actually kind of expensive, especially once you hit the blacksmith, which I'll show you once this quest is over. The blacksmith makes this game very, very expensive, so you will be doing a lot of grinding. Now, if you get the Digital Deluxe Edition, which is I think $15, it does make the grinding a little easier because it gives you a special area, an actual farm that you can farm scarecrows, and these scarecrows scale with your level, so the higher your level your group, scarecrows become more potent. And it's a good way to just farm items, farm equipment, farm money, and farm experience. If you don't have it, you are going to be doing quite a bit of running around trying to find the perfect farm area. As you can see there, he just died from my damage over time ability. Alright, so we got 2 more waves to go to finish this quest. For those who grew up with the SNES generation, you're going to find this game really a wonderful trip through nostalgia. I played this game when I first started. It was just absolutely wonderful. It was a lovely reminder of all the games that I grew up with that I've really enjoyed. Alright, let's protect my paladin here before my tank dies. And just finish off this wave as quickly as humanly possible before anyone else bites the dust. Alright, so here we are on our last wave, which is going to be probably the hardest. For a fact, I am way underleveled to be doing this, so it is actually reasonably challenging. Another hint for this game that I found was really handy is stack a lot of MP regeneration on your DPS. My main DPS is actually my rogue in this party. So as you can see, his mana practically barely goes down throughout this whole fight. Actually, I don't even think it does go down, it just kind of slingshots back from full to 10 short. And stacking HP regeneration on your tank, of course, is going to be will make your life a lot easier. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the Paladin, because he has a Holy Shield ability that halves all incoming damage. There is 6 classes in this game, with 4 additional classes that can be unlocked by doing side quests. So you will have a lot of room to experiment between what characters you want in your party and what will reflect best for your playstyle. Personally, I settled for having a rogue, a hunter, and my mage for pure damage, and I have a cleric and a paladin to handle the tanking and healing duties. I particularly am drawn to the paladin simply because he is able to heal himself, which does help take some of the pressure off the cleric. Alright, that should be all 4 waves. Alright, so I've completed the quest, and I've been able to level up Ronaldo, my cleric. I'm actually using the 5 game developers as my party. You actually do get to fight the game developers pretty early in the game. It was definitely a sign that the game developers weren't taking this game too seriously with a straight face. It is lighthearted, and it is pretty good if you're looking for something casual to pick up and play, you know, on your coffee break or whatnot. Alright, so let's complete this quest. And we're done. I'll just level up this guy. Yes, this is a reference to Wizards of the Coast, who currently have the rights to publish Dungeons & Dragons, which I absolutely loved. Alright, so here's a tavern. This is the part you get for having the computer version, which allows you to just change your party members as you see fit. Just grab this guy back and exit here, and here is the blacksmith that I was talking about. Now this is going to be one of your biggest money sinks in the game, simply because When you spend the money to do it, you do have it's a percentage chance. It goes higher as your blacksmith becomes more experienced, but of course you are running the risk of losing your money on the gamble. Of course, you get better gear out of it. One thing that I really loved is this map. It's very, very nostalgic. It reminds me of Super Mario, and I just adored it. As you can see, even with traveling, the whole theme of pen and paper is very, very distinct throughout the whole game, and it is really, really wonderful. So, I'm just going to finish up this fight, and I've pretty much given you the tour of Knights of Pen and Paper. You can pick this up on Steam for $9.99 as just the base game. There is a digital deluxe version. Personally, I didn't find the digital deluxe worth the $5. However, like most digital deluxe versions or any collector's edition or deluxe edition, it's one of those decisions you'll have to figure out yourself. If you do have a mobile device, this game for $2.99 is an absolute steal. I know with a lot of 99-cent game, $2.99 seems quite a bit. It's actually considered a premium for mobile devices, but this game is completely worth the $2.99. If you want to find out more about Knights of Pen and Paper, you can check out our review in the description. And if you have a suggestion for a game we should cover on this Capsule Computers Indie Spotlight, be sure to leave us a comment. So, I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next episode of Capsule Computers Indie Spotlight.